Greetings all, RPG Rider here. Here to talk a little bit about Blue Planet. An awesome RPG. Role-playing game, not the computer game. That really bugs me. That's a subject for another vlog, but I really don't think computer games should have usurped the name RPG, role-playing game, because they're not role-playing games. You're not acting in a computer game. You're just moving around a little figure, clicking your mouse. You're not role-playing. Role-playing is acting. Role-playing is discourse. Role-playing is all that stuff. Computer games are just clicking on a mouse. You're not role-playing. You're not taking on a role. You're not being the person, right? You know, it's silly to compare the two. I think it's very silly. Right? It is very silly to compare the two at all, right? So anyway, Blue Planet, coolest game ever. So first, before I get into describing how awesome it is, I'm going to tell you how I came across it. So I walked into a used bookstore. Big fan of used bookstores. Big fan of books and novels. I just like reading. Sci-fi and fantasy especially. And I walked in and I went to the sci-fi fantasy section. Surprise, surprise. And I noticed a lot of Blue Planet books. There were 5 or 6 of them, and they were mint books, right? So basically, open them up, they make their little creaking sound because they've never been opened. So I don't know if someone got them as a gift and didn't want them, or if someone bought them and moved and had to get rid of them, or if someone stole them. You know, I have no idea. I just know they weren't used at all, right? And you can just tell they weren't opened. And so, you know, and then I looked at the cover and it was some dude with binoculars overlooking the sea, and in the distance was a cybernetic dolphin. And I looked through it. Sorry guys, I'm gonna be grunting and stuff. I guess I have an allergy. I can't help it. So I open it up and start leafing through it, and oh my god, the first thing that comes to mind is Blade Runner. It's kind of, the cities are kind of Blade Runner-ish, and it's beautiful, right? And I think, God, cyberpunk on Waterworld? Oh man, of course I'm gonna pick this up, right? So I bought all the books for next to nothing, right? Literally, it was nothing. I think they were $3.50 each for these giant hardcovers, whatever it was. So I bought it and went home. And of course, this is around the time I don't think people are gaming online yet. I know, because I was one of the first. I was actually, and not just boasting. I was actually. I'm the first I know of that gamed over Skype voice chat. And I've got a lot of proof and the thread. So anyway, this was before all that stuff. Now, I'm not saying I was the first, but I think I was one of the first voice chat guys for role-playing. I'm in the history books, guys. And people do nod to me. But I'm not going to tell you my other online name. Anyway, that's here nor there, whether or not I was the first one or not. Anyway, it was before all that time. And so I pick up Blue Planet, and I bring it home, you know, realizing that no one's going to play this with me, because the people I know are just not very adventurous in terms of role-playing, and that's a real frustration for me. It's an agony. So it's one of these things like Rifts, right? I'm gonna pick up Rifts and never get to play it. And I'm gonna pick up Blue Planet and the same thing's gonna happen. So I'm just gonna have to deal with reading the fluff and enjoying the fluff, right? So anyway, I start leafing through it. This is becoming a longer vlog than I thought it would be. I start leafing through it and start reading some of the storyline, and essentially this is what it is. So Earth in the future, 21 whatever, corporations, blah blah blah, the stereotypical stuff of the future. Genetic modifications, cybernetics, all that stuff's coming in. And what happens is, lo and behold, a company releases a super virus. And I think what they're trying to do with this virus is, I don't know, get rid of some pests or something that are bothering crops, or something like that. Anyway, something to do with crops anyway, or protecting crops. So they do, right? It's this, this wheat thing, virus or whatever they've got on the go. But the problem is it targets certain plants or certain insects or whatever. And the problem is, of course, is that it mutates and it starts wiping out all of the Earth's crops. Right? It starts continuously mutating and destroying everything, just destroying the world's food sources. And this is like a global crisis, right? They call it the blight because it spirals so out of control and they can't get a handle on it that it literally wipes out a lot of the world's population just from starvation and war and all the related stuff that comes when food gets incredibly scarce, right? So it's called the blight, right? And under the blight rise these organizations. One's called the GEO, and this is basically the Global Ecology Organization, something like that. It comes out of the United Nations, right? So basically, the fluff is so awesome, right? It's so awesome. It's just written with a lot of real care put into it and thought. So anyway, you got this GEO that comes out of the United Nations and the incorporate states and all of this stuff, but Earth is just a mess. Most people dead, fallen cities, war, just goes on and on and on. Well, out of this nightmare, eventually what they do is they discover basically a wormhole, right? Near our solar system or in our solar system, wherever. And on the other side of the wormhole, much to everyone's happiness, is a planet that's very Earth-like. The only problem is it's like 99 point whatever percent water. So that's the issue. It's like this water planet, right? So anyway, colonists start going through the wormhole, and etc. And they've got cybernetics and biomodification. And the beginning of the book, basically, the role-playing game is you going under, getting your, being put to sleep to go on through this wormhole and this voyage. And you're going to end up on this planet they named Poseidon, right? Blue Planet. Now, the ultra cool thing about this book is that it's written by a bunch of marine biologists. So these guys really know their stuff, right? They're into evolution, ecology, all that stuff. So you got a really lifelike planet, Poseidon, in the descriptions of the books, right? Like, it's very believable. It's hard science, right? Blue Planet, oh, I should have mentioned. Blue Planet's a hard science. What I mean by that, it's realistic sci-fi, right? Like, people aren't casting spells and stuff like that. It's realistic sci-fi. So anyway, there they are. there they are doing their thing, and they're going over. And of course you've got you know, you've got eco-terrorists now on Poseidon who don't want anyone to muck with Poseidon, and they're bombing stuff and etc. And then you've got the GEO, which has morphed into this organization that a lot of people think is horrible. It's just trying to take over everything. And then you got the corporate states, and they make the best of it. Organized crime syndicates are also showing up on Poseidon. So you got a lot of problems caused by all of these different groups. And you know, picture Blade Runner with lots of ocean and biomodifications. People can get gills and whatnot and change their life forms in this chaotic area. And there's no uniform currency. So currency is based upon other currency and based on hard credits and bank credits, and a lot of the island populations don't use them. So you got this big mess going on. That's Poseidon, but it's really cool. This is beachside, awesome underwater and water and beach towns and cities, cyberpunk of the sea, right? And so, okay, let's get into the actual game. Aside from the fact that the splat is really cool, right? The splat is awesome, right? So you got this going on, and okay, character generation. So I played one game, a GM1 game of it, but the guys liked it so much, and I liked it so much. They're like, well, let's just continue it next week. So on Saturday night, I broke up the Blue Planet, and I had one guy do a pre-gen. He was an ex-GEO combat guy, like special forces dude. And the other guy, get this, he was a dolphin. You can be a dolphin in Blue Planet. You could be an orca whale in Blue Planet with cybernetics. The only catch is dolphins are smarty pants. Orca whales are smart for whales, but not for humans. So you're going to be a bit of a dumbass if you're an orca. I don't think it's a recommended character. I don't know or not. I have to look more into it. I'm sure it'd be interesting to roleplay. So anyway, it's there. If you want to be an orca, a dolphin, or if you want to have some cat DNA, feline DNA shoved into you on Blue Planet for the right price, you can do it, right? And it's Freedomville, right? So anyway, all this stuff is going on, and then you've got, here's essentially how the game mechanics work. Boy, that's a lot longer than I thought it would be. Sorry, my homage to Blue Planet is just so cool. So anyway, it's produced by Biohazard, I believe, games. Then Fantasy Flight took a crack at it, and then FASA took a crack at it, and then it was converted to GURPS for a while. You know, there's Blue Planet's been kind of trying to find a home, and it's all over the place, right? But it's awesome. So